Hello there, one and all, and welcome to episode 339. I don't quite believe that, of Love at First Scent, with me, Persolaise, live on YouTube, but not just me, because you can see that right next to me, or virtually right next to me, is the fragrance presenter, writer, award-winning journalist, Instagram perfume sensation, Alice Du Parcq. Before we started this, we were actually sort of saying that I cannot believe it has been over a year since the last time I had Alice on this channel. So thank you very, very much for taking the time to join us. I will say what we're doing in a moment, but first of all, hello. Thanks for being with us. How are you doing today, Alice?
I'm really good. I'm hoping that compared to 2 years ago, my lighting's a bit better and I wasn't quite so dark in my forest therapy office. So hopefully I'm lit up a little better and look less like Iggy Pop.
Your lighting looks perfect to me. People with very, very good memories may recall that the last time we did this on my channel, we had some serious tech gremlins. So hopefully they will stay away today. When I've been on your Instagram and you've been kind enough to invite me, everything's gone fine. So hopefully we'll bring a little bit of that Instagram energy here.
It's because I talked about Kouros, and clearly your stream, YouTube just shut it down immediately. I don't think so, love. You cannot bring Kouros onto.
No, don't say the K word again. I haven't. Spoiler alert. I haven't got Kouros for anybody today. I don't know if you have. Now, people have already started leaving some comments. This is the kind of chat we're going to have. I will reveal the topic in a moment, I promise. This is the kind of chat we're going to have where it would be really, really great to hear from you as well for your own take on this idea that we're going to present to you. But maybe if you'd just like to ask me or Alice some kind of general question about perfume, feel free. I can't promise to take every single general question, but we'll see what we can do. People, like I said, Anamika says, hi, everybody. I hope I can keep watching today. Christine says, excited for this episode with you both. Rachel is here as well. So is Natalia. Henda saying hello from Tunis. Rebecca saying hello from Colorado. And Natalia is going black velour. Thank you very much. Thank you for noticing.
Lovely. I love that.
Paolo says, oh dear, Alice has a beautiful setting. Mr. Persolaise, you should take some notes on that.
You have fresh flowers. I have just...
No, they're not fresh. They're not fresh flowers.
Oh, aren't they? Yeah, I was thinking
anyway,
sweet peas doesn't really make sense at this time of the year.
No, but yes, I agree. Alice's setting is great. Okay, so the top 10 for today is a little bit of a cheat because it's not a top 10 in the... Oh, I've got to bring this comment up. Smarks 1166 says, the two of you are responsible for my Guerlain obsession. That is a good obsession to have.
No apologies.
No, guilty as charged. Guilty as charged.
Absolutely happy to enable that. Well, I know what your favorite Guerlain is. That's a toughie, actually. It's like, what's your favorite child?
No, that is hard. So today's top 10 isn't... It is kind of about the perfumes, but it's not about the perfumes in the sense that, it's not the top 10 Vetivers or the top 10 Chypre or the top 10 roses or anything like that. I suggested this idea to Alice that I thought it would be really, really fun and maybe sort of quite touching and personal and potentially moving and emotive to talk about some of our favorite really precious items in our collection. And I said that we could interpret this in any way we see fit. So maybe it is actually genuinely a perfume that is perhaps discontinued or very hard to come by that we really, really love. Or maybe it's that particular bottle to which we have got a lot of sentimental attachment. Maybe it was given to us by somebody special. Maybe we bought it on some memorable holiday, that kind of thing. So as I'm looking at the 5 that I've got here, it just so happens that I do really love how they smell as well, but it's kind of not about the smell. It sort of is and it sort of isn't. Hopefully it'll become clear as we go along. Rachel's getting into the mode by going, oh, most precious, right? Anybody wearing the ring of power or anything? Okay, so I think we just need to make a start. And as you are our guest of honor today, ADP, take it away, please. Oh, yes, and I should say Alice doesn't know what my 5 are, and I don't know what Alice's 5 are. So let's have the first reveal. Go on. What's your first special stroke precious perfume?
So when I looked at my collection, which is quite massive, there are lots of perfumes that I love, that I adore, that I want to drink and I want IV dripped into me. But the bottles that were really special are bottles that just signify sort of happy milestones and happy times. And the first one I've chosen, I actually do love this fragrance and I would drink it if I could. Unfortunately, it's discontinued. It's a very, very old bottle.
And I'm going to make you go full screen for a sec.
It's a very old bottle of
Oh.
Guerlain Eau de Parfum. I had the Eau de Cologne, I had the Eau de Toilette. I wore this fragrance for years. And this bottle in particular, the label, you can't really see it here, it's all stained and a bit brown. I mean, it's gone quite boozy because it's probably now 20 years old. This bottle came into my possession when I worked at the Telegraph magazine. I had hustled throughout school, throughout uni, working in magazines whilst at school. I had 3 jobs when I was at uni. I worked at Tatler, all sorts of places. And when I finished my like journalism degree, I got a job at the Telegraph magazine as I think my title was something like fashion and beauty associate, and I got paid 150 quid a week. It was awful. Like that, I mean, I got treated quite badly there. But the girl I worked with, Kinvara Balfour, is still a really close friend. She is amazing. She was my boss, and we had the best time. That's where I properly started writing, because she was doing all sorts of things, shoots, and she gave me the sort of half beauty page to write. Anyway, this came out, I don't know whether it came out at the time or I can't remember the exact date, but this came into my life and it just was the smell that I loved, just wanted everywhere, all over me, and I still love it, and I wish that it was still made. But this bottle just makes me think of that time and being so just full of energy and stamina, and going to all the fashion shows and going to all the launches and starting to write properly about beauty, because I was given the sort of half page to do whatever I wanted with, and shooting all the time. And it was such a fun time. We worked in the big Canada Square, like the Canary Wharf super high building. Yeah. And I was there for 3 years, and I commuted from my mum and dad's house, because I got paid £150 a week. I couldn't afford to live anywhere. From my mum and dad's house in Barnes, which is in Southwest 13, to E14 every day, 5 days a week, in before anyone else, last one in the office.
But I've got to ask, Alice, because I'm you know, hands up, I'm not familiar with that one. How does it smell? What is it? What kind of perfume is it anyway?
It's a slightly ambery bohemian fragrance that smells a little bit like really delicious Play-Doh, if that makes sense. So it's a little bit resinous, it's a bit sweet. The one that I can compare it to in sort of more recent year times is the Le Labo Labdanum fragrance. So it's quite a little bit sticky, a bit holy in that sort of slightly spiritual resin sort of way. Yeah. There's no floral anywhere, which is heaven, because I'm not really into floral fragrances. And it's an eau de cologne. It was originally a men's fragrance, and I think it's Maurice Roussel. I think I should have done my homework.
I was going to ask. No, it's fine. Could somebody? This is why I have the most amazing followers in the world. Could somebody watching online either tell us if you know who it was made by, or maybe just do a quick search. Now, somebody is already aware. We Are Sentient says it's about a third of a kidney on eBay now. If you're looking for another one. I bet it is, actually. Why is it always the best ones that get discontinued?
Right. Yeah. So it is Maurice Roussel, and it came out in 2000. So it must have been in the beauty cupboard. Like at that time, I wasn't allowed to go to launches. I was literally the skivvy, and I wasn't allowed to do anything fun like that when I first started. So I must have been given it, or it was in a beauty sale. The times of like beauty sales in editorial offices, and I just smelt it and thought, this is it, this is the one. I wore this for such a long time.
Gosh.
And I just
Caroline watching says, first time making a live, but cannot turn on the volume as I'm in the office. So I think Alice, you are now going to interpret the perfume through the medium of dance. Just for Caroline.
Play-Doh, if I do this like Play-Doh.
But seriously, if you could go back to the ADP of 20 years ago, what advice would you give her?
Oh, do you know what? I've thought about this in the past. You know, when you read those articles about the letter to my 15-year-old self,
Yes.
I wouldn't say anything differently, because I had to figure out that I was being bullied by somebody at work. Had to figure that out by myself. I had to figure out how to then hustle, because I had to leave the job that I was in. By then, the friend that I was working with had left. I was being bullied by somebody there who was awful. And I had to figure out what to do next. And because I was on this sort of rubbish pay, they called it emergency pay, I didn't have a contract or anything. I was able to go, so I'm not coming in on Monday. Bye. And I had to then learn to email all the beauty directors and make myself sort of get into their inbox. And so at the time, I think I learnt just I learnt that sort of resilience and how to make myself indispensable to a team. And I don't think I would go back and tell myself anything differently.
No, and you need to learn those lessons yourself.
Yeah, and
Brilliant.
invest
Controversial comment from Pradeep says, Maurice Roussel, when he made good perfumes, now we have Uncut Gem. Ooh.
Okay, not very discreet with me, but I'm with you. I find that fragrance absolutely vile. And when I first...
No, I wasn't a fan either.
I almost thought, is this a joke? Is this a sort of funny Frederick Malle, let's make something everyone will hate? I know people love it.
Because I don't think you and I have touched base about Uncut Gem, actually. Interesting.
That's a whole other hour chat. But
no. And Lyd says, do you remember Revlon Unforgettable? I don't. So sad they discontinued it. Closest I found since is Contessa by Moresque at a huge cost. I was wondering if maybe that's being mentioned because it's similar to the Helmut Lang, but no, I don't know that one.
But I found very few fragrances that match this Helmut Lang incredible smell. Next time I see it, I'm going to bring this with me every launch I go to in case I see you. Or maybe I'll make a tiny vial.
That would be amazing.
Tiny vial of my Christmas Day gravy. It won't be that, it'll be Helmut Lang. And the closest I found a Tom Ford Metallique, which I love.
Oh, and right. Okay.
I love that smell. It's so weird and delicious and chewy and like that Play-Doh squidginess. And the Labdanon from Le Labo, which is not a brand I would, no, it's fine. But it's probably the closest.
Okay, perfect. You have got us off to the perfect start, because that is exactly the kind of thing that I was hoping we would do. I know you've pre-warned me that with one of them you're going rogue, but that's great. I always love going rogue. Okay, let me do one, because time is always against us. Now, this one was one of the ones that I instantly thought, right, if we're doing this kind of a top 10, then this has got to be in here, because this is genuinely one of the most precious things in my collection, because of who gave it to me. Now, did you ever come across the brand, or were you ever familiar with the brand, Alice, Vero Profumo?
I don't think so, no.
I mean, don't worry if you haven't. Now, Vero Profumo was a brand, there you go, there's the little bottle that I'm showing you there. It was a brand that was founded by a Zurich-based perfumer called Vero Kern, and that's why the brand was called Vero Profumo. She is sadly no longer with us. She passed away in 2018. She's just such a talented perfumer, really gifted perfumer. She didn't make a single bad perfume. I believe she had a kind of background in, well, lots of things, but also aromatherapy, and I think that got her into perfumery. She took ages and ages and ages to make her perfumes, literally years between releases, and then she would release one as an extrait, and then she would release one as an EDP, and they'd be slightly different. And this one is very special because she gave it to me herself.
Wow.
She had come over to, and I should say actually that the particular perfume that this one is called, I don't know if you can see that, it's called Onda. And all of her, there you go, all of her perfumes had 4-letter word names. So there was Onda, there was a Kiki. Kiki was like probably one of the best lavenders you will ever smell in your life. Then there was one called Ruby. The very last one I think she released was called Naja. I keep trying to find out what's happening with the brand. And for a while there was talk that an Italian distributor would sort of pick them up and reproduce them and re-release them. But I don't think they're available anymore. And she gave this to me herself when she came to London once. And then the second and final time I saw her was actually in Zurich. It was like one of those unforgettable nights where I had met up with Andy Tower and the perfumer Andy Tower, and we were in Andy Tower's apartment in Zurich, and Vero Kern was there as well, and we had.
Wow.
It was just one of those truly, and Madame Persolaise was there too. We had stopped off in Zurich because we were on our way down to Calabria for a summer holiday in Calabria, and this one, Onda, is just this all-consuming, flinty, earthy vetiver. It's like one of the most powerful, kind of all-destructive vetiver scents. I wore it today in in preparation for this video. It's like stepping into another dimension. You sort of open up the bottle and it's like this portal into another dimension. And look, yeah, there we go. We Are Sentient Watching says Campo Marzio 40 are remaking them, but I've heard this for ages. I keep hearing that somebody is remaking them, somebody is picking it up, doing this, that, and the other. I hope they do, and I hope that if they make them, it'll be to Vero's original formulae, because this is something else. And Vero herself was a very, very, very special person. I can't say that she was like, a good friend. We communicated with each other every now and then, but she was very, very supportive of me when I started this perfume writing journey. And that was when we kept in touch quite a bit, because I think she appreciated what I was trying to do and trying to be, sort of honest and objective and all the rest of it. And so many of us who knew her and who met her, we will still sort of say to each other, "Oh gosh, isn't it sad that she's gone? She occupied a unique place in the perfume world, and it hasn't been occupied by anybody else yet. Nobody's been able to replace her." Yeah. Which is a real shame. She was a sort of force to be reckoned with and a very, very unique perfumer. If you ever get a chance to smell any of her work, do. I mean, there's such extraordinary.
Is it sold anywhere in particular?
For a while, I believe Bloom stocked them. The perfumery in Covent Garden. But then when Vero passed away, it all, they just sort of sold off what they had left, and that was the rest of it. I've got tiny little vials, I think, of pretty much every single one of her perfumes. And they really are very, very, very special. We Are Sentient says, I got Onda and Mito from Campo Marzio, and yes, they're the same. So that's great. That's great. But I wonder if they would ship abroad. I don't know. But anyway, that's my first one. That's a kind of really, really sentimental choice, because I find myself thinking about Vero so often and wishing we still had some more beautiful scented creations from her. Right. So what's your second one?
Well, I wish I had more sentimental older bottles. I mean, I have a funny little bottle here that my dad gave to me. It doesn't smell of anything, actually, and this isn't in my choice, but I wish it did. It was my I think it was my great-grandmother's, and it's a very, very old glass bottle. It doesn't smell of anything, but the brand is called Je les Frères, which I think this is one of the boxes that the brand came in, was sold with. And I think the brand has sort of been taken over by a new marketing company, and it's all just revolting on Instagram with it's gross. So I didn't want to sort of give it too much airtime, but I wish I had more of these precious keepsakes, because my grandfather wore not only 4711, he wore Shalimar as well. My grandmother wore Mitsuko, and I was asking my dad a few days ago, did he keep any of their bottles? And I don't think they did, unless my aunt or uncle squirreled some away, because they love perfume too, because all my family are very into perfume, and I wonder whether they nicked some of the bottles when the clear out happened. But okay, the next one
second choice
is which one shall I go for? I'll go kind of chronologically.
Okay.
This bottle, not that I think the brand is great, etc., and whatever. I'll stay quite neutral on the brand, but this is a very special bottle, because the story just makes me really smile every time when I open up my blue cupboard of perfume utopia. I see this bottle and it just really makes me smile. So this. But
which one is it, Alice? I can't see.
It's Creed. It's Angélique Ensemble.
Oh, okay.
And I think you can probably buy it online or in the boutique in Paris. This bottle it must have been about, I'd say 2010, something like that.
Okay.
I went to Paris. So I'll put the bottle down for the moment and I'll kind of set the scene. So
Yes.
I went to Paris for the day with a lovely gentleman called Michael Donovan, who I'm sure you know.
Oh gosh, yes,
He
yes, yes.
ran an amazing PR agency, which is still existing now. And Creed was one of the brands that he looked after. I was working at Brides magazine at the time. I worked there for ages. I was beauty director, but also did set up their Facebook. I did all sorts of jobs there. And I tried to get in fragrance in every issue. And my editors always knew what I was trying to do, but they let me do it, which was nice of them. And so Michael called me up and said, there's a new fragrance. It's called Love in White. It's very bridal. Come to Paris. Olivier would like to show it to you. Erwin, his son, is there. We'll go out for lunch and you'll be home by 5. I'm like, lovely. So I had permission from my editor to go off and do this story. And just that in itself was so fun. Like, I didn't have kids. I was, living in a flat. I was coming home whenever I wanted. I wasn't responsible for anyone, nipping to Paris for the day, like good old days. And so we took the train and it was so fun. And he's such a nice guy. And it was just lovely to spend more time with him. We got to the boutique, and I don't know whether you've probably met Olivier Creed, and he's very...
No, I haven't actually. I have
he's
not.
He's sort of like the sort of Joan Collins of the fragrance world. He's very beautiful.
Excuse me, sorry. I think you'll find I'm the Joan Collins of the... No, never mind.
You're the Meryl Streep. You are like another level. And
anyway, go on.
He's very grand, beautiful suit, beautifully groomed, and he was in the boutique. And I mean, I was 2015-ish. I was probably like 25 at the time. I mean, just excited to
You're
be
about
there.
sort of 4 or 5 years ago. Yeah, go on.
Yeah, 2. Yeah, a couple of years ago. And just really excited to meet him because I was sort of wowed by the whole thing. Erwin, thinking how many years ago, that very good looking. I was like, oh, I like him. And I'm French, so great, we can chat French. So smelt the perfume, and then Olivier said, I would like to choose a fragrance for you, which is a bit like someone saying, I'm going to order for you in a restaurant. I really like ordering myself, Anyway, so I thought, yeah, great, why not? Let him, I will indulge this funny little thing. And he chose Angélique Encens for me, but not just in the sort of normal bottle, in this massive apothecary style bottle, which came with a little sort of suede hat and a little gold thing around it. And there's no spray. I have to decant it into things. There's still quite a lot in it because I actually wore it for ages because I love it. And it has this lovely, soft, quite glowy incense. So rather than it being a dark, smoky, creepy Tim Burton incense, it's more of it's a sort of church morning, when the morning light is flooding through type of incense. It's bright and it's glowing and very happy and choir boys. And sorry, I turned off. And don't know where choir boys came in. But anyway, the bottle just makes me think of this time, because after meeting Olivier, Michael Donovan and Erwin said, right, we're taking out for lunch. I was like, oh, that's very kind. And really, I'm happy with a sandwich. Oh, don't, please. I said, no, we're taking out for lunch. And we went to this restaurant. It was a fish restaurant. I don't know what came over me, but I ordered frog's legs. And I thought, that's an okay thing to order in front of 2 very established people in the industry that I'm quite new in. And we all got quite drunk as well. Erwin ordered this amazing bottle of Puy Fumé. And I remember thinking, God, I must take a picture of the label. Just so cringe when I think back to how I behaved. And we all ordered all sorts of things. And I thought, I'll have the frog's legs. Delicious. Imagine just buttery, parsley-ridden, garlicky dribble all over me, all over my hands, because you can't eat that with a knife and fork. Like, if you ever seen frog's legs, please someone tell me they're banned forever, because not a good thing to eat. Delicious because they're smothered in garlicky butter. But I was just filthy. It was all, I think I might have had to tuck a bib in, like, so cringe and embarrassing in front of Erwin Creed. And I ate frog's legs in front of him. It was so, at the time, it was just the right thing to do. But looking back, when I look at this bottle, I think, God, what what came over me? Maybe it was being drenched in Angelique Constance. Anyway, it made me really giggle. And we got home.
No,
Sleepy and a
I
bit
love
boozed up.
stories like that, and I'm very, very impressed that you've managed to get a creed on the Persolaise channel.
I know. I had to set it up slightly. I know that we have issues, but
no, that's really good, and that's a very, very impressive bottle. No, thank you, that's brilliant.
It's massive as well, like compared to my massive head, but it is huge, and it's still, it hasn't gone too boozy. I mean, I was a bit boozy at the time, but this has lasted really well, and it's so old, a bit dusty now, and it makes me laugh.
Amazing. I'm gonna move myself on because
Okay,
we've only done three.
Only
done three, and I'm going to use your Paris thing as a sort of segue to something that I also was well, I think I was given this. I don't know whether I bought it, but the point isn't the actual bottle. The point is kind of what's on the packaging. So as a perfume, this is a perfume that was released in 2013. I can't believe that basically means it's 10 years old. And I picked it up when it was released. It was on one of my trips to Paris. And again, I think I just did this trip myself. I don't know whether we were there for a few days on a holiday or something. And I arranged to meet the founder of Étain Libre d'Orange, Etienne de Svart, and they had just released this perfume called La Fin du Monde. It may actually have been 2014 that I did this trip, because I seem to remember that this was released towards the end of the calendar year. But anyway, the point is, this was the first perfume that had been made for them by the perfumer Quentin Biche, or Quentin Biche, right? And he was already then this kind of up-and-coming Givaudan perfumer, and I asked him if he could sign this. And so I have a few signed packages, a few signed bottles, but this was special because he kind of did a little bit of he was sort of taken aback, and he said, "Oh, I've never signed a perfume before." And I said, "Well, that's amazing. So, yours, mine will be the first one you sign." And he's actually written a very first signature for one of the first perfumes for Eau d'Ariouche, and that's his, signature there, Quentin. And now, and it was a very, very special meeting. It was the first time I'd met him. I haven't met him very many times, really. Some of you may remember, I mean, you may have seen, do you remember about 11 or so years ago, Alice, there was a 3-part documentary on the BBC about perfume?
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, I can, the episodes are available on YouTube. I can send you the link. It was directed by the now Emmy award-winning director Ian Denyer, who I think did some episodes of the Stanley Tucci going around Italy eating food program. Mm-hmm. So he did this documentary, and that's how I'd become aware of Quentin. And so, I was kind of, starstruck doing the kind of fanboy thing, and that's why this one is special. If anybody's just smelt the perfume, they'll know that this is Étain Libre d'Orange in full sense of humor mode, because it's kind of got a weird popcorn note. The idea is that the world ends like a kind of post-apocalyptic movie, and so that's why it's got the popcorn note, because it's like you're in the cinema watching
explosion of popcorn,
and it all kind of explodes. Quentin Biche has now obviously moved on to, truly amazing things. He's done all of the perfumes for Marc-Antoine Barrois. He's done 2 upcoming perfumes, or just very recently released perfumes for Amouage. I haven't smelt this for a while. Yeah, it's so strange. It's kind of strange, but it's also sort of cuddly and familiar. But as I say, this isn't about the perfume. This is about the fact that I have got, the very first perfume packaging that Quentin has ever signed, and so I do go fanboyish over these sorts of things. We need
to do this more. We need to ask for autographs on perfume.
Oh, I constantly do.
What a great idea! I've got a few signed bottles, but not on the boxes, because I can't keep the boxes. There's not enough space. And when you bought the box out, I thought, why have you still got the box? There must be something special about the box.
Yeah, but I should do that actually, so that people can see it. Right. I am going to kind of very quickly go over so I'm done with that one, because we're at the halfway mark, which means we need to do, because you've done 2.
I've raced through.
I've done 2. Okay, so we're okay, because we're at the halfway mark, and we're doing number 5. So go on. What's your third one then? What's your third?
Okay, I love your little teapot in the background, by the way. I have chosen this bottle, I love the brand Acqua Di Parma. I have the same initials, but other than that, I love how they do everything. This sort of feels like a very small family craft love tribute to Italy, and I really love the way they work. I've worked with them a little bit commercially as well, and they're all so nice. I just love the fragrances. I wear Colonia and I wear Colonia Senza all the time. And I was invited to a dinner a few years ago where every year or every season they occasionally collaborate with an artist to decorate certain bottles, and they collaborated with an artist called Clym Everden.
Oh yes, was I there too?
I think you might have been there, and it was in this beautiful restaurant. We're all sitting on little tables together, and Clym was there, and it was the first time I ever met him, and he was so kind and so interesting, and I really enjoyed meeting him. And it was only brief. Our chat was only really brief, but I still have the bottle that...
Show off the bottle, go on, because he's really talented.
He's so talented. So there's a little sort of bird on skis, strange little swirly twirly. You can tell it's obviously a kind of Christmas edition. There's a little an owl with a scarf. We love owls in our family. My eldest daughter, Pops, is obsessed with owls, so they're everywhere in our house. And I think maybe I might start painting some into the trees of my wallpaper. And this bottle just was really special because I then got to know him a little bit better over the years. He's also one of the artists in residence for Claridge's, which is a place that I adore. Okay. And he did all the illustrations for their cookbook. When you go into Claridge's and you order off the menu, I mean, when, once in a million years, it's so special. All the illustrations on the menu are by Clym. He has just done some beautiful collaborations with lots and lots of brands. His Instagram page is beautiful, especially in lockdown. He'd do all these little
Clym Draws, isn't it?
Yes, Clym Draws. So CLYM Draws.
Yeah, and he's worth following because some of the stuff that he does, where he folds the paper up and does different.
Yes, it's so good. Clever, he did one the other day for the Year of the Rabbit, and the way he paints is so beautiful. And I then, about a year ago, was invited to a dinner at Claridge's for all the sort of friends of the brand, because I know a couple of people who work there. And I sat next to him at this dinner, and we ate the most incredible food, but we didn't come up for air. We were deep in this fascinating conversation about him and the way he works and owls, and just, it was so wonderful. It was almost like there was no one else in the room, and I just felt so lucky and to be sitting next to him, this incredible, talented artist who was so kind and so funny, and we had the best chat. And I said to him, oh God, I've still got that bottle of Acqua Di Parma Colonia that you painted. And he goes, oh, I love working on that project. And he worked with lots of brands like that, but he said this was a really special one. And this is really precious to me because I love drawing, I love sketching. I wish I had more time to do that. It was a big part of my childhood. And this is a real special one because I also
that's wonderful. And he is very, very talented.
So talented. One of those people that you think my Instagram scrolling is joyous because of you, and it makes you want to sort of just get rid of all the other crap that's out there and just focus on these beautiful creators and joy givers. And he is so talented, and everything he does has a little twinkle of humor in it, and it'll just brighten up your day. And he chooses great music as well. And I remember he did something for the Diamond Jubilee. Platinum Jubilee. Sorry, skipped a few years there. And he had Dancing Queen with his little illustration on his little thing, and it was just the best sound. And he's just lovely. And as a person, he's quite shy and just unassuming, but just a lovely guy. And this is very precious.
I love how you can sometimes also associate particular perfumes or specific bottles with a person, or an individual. No, that's a brilliant one. Thank you. So we are at the halfway mark in terms of the perfumes, but more than the halfway mark in terms of time. So I promise I'll try and do mine because I prefer listening to your stories rather than rabbiting on with my own. But also I need to say to the people watching, please, 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 if you have got some stories about particularly precious or special or important or valuable bottles in your collection, do share some stories, because I'd love to be able to sort of stick them up on the screen and talk about them. Now, I have got 3 left. Where should I go? Okay, I'm going to go with one that's a little bit of a mystery. And I think I may have, and I'll explain what I mean, why it's a mystery. I think I may have shown this on my channel before, but if I have, it's been a while. So if I do this, then you will straight away recognize the brand. It's an Hermès. But this one is, yeah, well, as I say, I haven't been able to find out a huge amount of information about it, although I should also say that I haven't as yet tried very hard to get any information about it, other than just doing a very, very simple Google search. I think what I should do is just get in touch with the brand. So this was purchased in Cannes several years ago, but I don't even remember exactly when, but I'm sure it was at least 10 years ago, if not more. And it comes like in a little pouch, as though it's one of the Hermès, but it's not an Hermès. And you can see straight away here that it's called Voyage. But you will know as well that there is the Hermès Voyage perfume that kind of has a bottle that's sort of like a luggage tag.
Yes.
Now, this is not that perfume, even though it's called Voyage. It predates that one. It comes in a sort of fairly standard Hermès bottle. And this was, I was told at the time, that this was a Côte d'Azur exclusive, which meant that it was available only, I think, at the Cannes store, the Nice store, and I don't know if there was a Saint-Tropez store at the time, but yeah, something like that. And because it was an exclusive, I thought, oh, well, I quite like buying things that, aren't available anywhere else. And I bought it. In terms of its scent, and actually, as it happens, it's a beautiful perfume, because it's one of the most gorgeous mimosa scents ever. Completely appropriate to the Côte d'Azur. But as far as I can see, there is absolutely nothing on the net about it, because of course, when you Google Voyage Hermès, you get the Jean-Claude Ellena scent.
Yeah.
Oh, it's just this really, really rich and quite baroque, almost retro sort of vetiver. What I really ought to do is just contact the brand directly, because there are people you can contact. There are like various people you can contact at the brands to say, look, here's the perfume, here's the picture, here's the batch code. Can you please tell me a little bit more about it? Mm-hmm. But that's why this one is special, because I've never come across it again. It hasn't been available at Hermès on the Côte d'Azur for years and years and years, because I remember once going back and saying, oh, do you still have that exclusive called Voyage? And I was looked at as though I was this complete idiot. There is no, and I was like, well, yes, there is, because I bought it here a few years ago. So yeah, that's why this one is in my top 5 today, because it's a total one-off in a way, and cool. And nobody knows anything about it. It's not on Base Notes, it's not on Profumo, it's not on any other online database that I can find. And I'm guessing from the expression on your face, you haven't.
Never. I mean, I know Voyage, like yeah, but not that one. But mimosa, delicious, yum.
Oh, it's a really, really good mimosa. Now, people are sharing some stories. So We Are Sentient says, Schiaparelli's So Sweet in an old Baccarat Dabber might be the oldest bottle I have. Think it's from the 40s, 50s, and still smells fresh and beautiful. Wow. Oh, wow. I'm going to have to look at that
made
bottle.
With like beef fat or something, isn't it? And
probably
glands and all sorts of things that preserve it.
Marks 1166 says, I discovered a completely unopened bottle of Worth Je Reviens and Guerlain's Mahora in a dusty antique shop, which I bought for a song. Not such an impressive story, but they are precious to me. But no, that's what, you will remember those. You will remember those forever. Yeah. Rachel says, Sporturno 21 is created by the great-granddaughter of François Coty on the 100th anniversary of Emeraude using the original formula. Emeraude was my beloved grandmother's signature scent. I don't know that one. Do you know Sporturno?
What a lovely link. That's so important.
Yeah. Amazing. Oh, thank you so much for sharing those. More. And Pradeep says, I'm scared even to go inside Hermès. It's a shop. It's just a shop. You can go in and do what you like.
Hermès sent me a whip once
Okay, no,
I
that's
think
where
I
the
was.
story ends. No, go on.
No, I think I was working at Brides. We were doing a shoot, and I got sent a whip, and I got told you keep it. We don't want it back.
Okay, you are
Yeah,
so
and I gave
bringing the whip to the next.
and it came in this very, very long box. Well, I gave it to my niece because she is a horse rider. Maybe I should get it back.
Yes. Okay.
I know. Yeah. Well.
Right. What's your
Okay. My
fourth one, ADP?
fourth
Go
one.
on.
Well, speaking of ADP, I've chosen this. This is a sort of newer one in my collection, and this is probably about maybe 4 years old. Yeah, about 4 years old, because this is a Guerlain B bottle that actually anyone can go to the Harrods or Selfridges, both, counter and have this made. This is available to everyone, and you can have it engraved. I had Eau de Alice written on it. I did a story of. There were sort of many parts of this. I'll try and be as brief as possible. But
you take your time. I'll rush myself. Go on.
I had my second daughter, and about 4 weeks after she was born, an editor, a very good pal, an ex-editor who I worked with before, Deborah Joseph, who edits Glamour magazine and the website, called me up and said, I'm starting a brand new magazine for Glamour because they shut down the monthly one. We're doing one twice a year now. I need you to come and run the beauty section. I said, Deborah, I've literally just had a baby. I can't speak. I can't even write my own name. Like, got to give me a bit of time. She said, okay, we'll do an issue, but come for the next one. You can work, 2 days in the office, 1 day in the office, whatever works for you. We just want you there. And that was a really nice feeling, especially when you feel very vulnerable and slightly shredded after, being a new mum. It's nice that somebody needs you. So this was a while back. And anyway, so I eventually plucked up the sort of courage and, got myself together and went to work with the team there, just running the beauty section on the print magazine of Glamour for a few issues. And when I got there, it was full of just young people. I felt really insecure for some reason. I'm quite a confident person, but I felt very insecure. I felt really old, but I was welcomed so amazingly because Deborah had sort of bigged me up a bit, and I sat in features meetings and came up with these mad ideas, and I was just really welcomed, and they made me feel so happy and like I was really part of the team. I didn't have to sort of prove myself like I have done for years at other places. And I came up with this idea for a fragrance feature. I called it the 5-2 fragrance plan, where it was just a different way of using fragrance. If you don't want to commit to a signature scent, do a little bit of a exploring 2 days a week and stick with something that you love the rest of the time. So I came up with this sort of really practical plan. It won a Jasmine Award at the time as well. But the shoot that we did, I wanted to create a sort of foodie still life because it was inspired by the 5-2 fragrance plan. So we had this beautiful bottle with a bunch of grapes on this plate with a knife and fork, and we starred it. It looked brilliant, and it was really funny. And Glamour has always been a magazine that have welcomed my very wacky ideas. And I mean, this is in the past before I got into the whole Instagram thing. I remember once coming to them with an idea saying, so I want to do, I want to turn fragrance bottles into cartoon characters, or I want to do a Magic Eye 3D picture with a bottle and get people to, and they are all for the weird ideas. So we did this shoot, and we had this bottle made for the shoot, and it also coincided with me finding one of my ultimate favorite fragrances by Guerlain, and that is Crielle Beluga. So I went to have this consultation, which was it was included in the feature. And I sat with the Guerlain team at Harrods. They have this beautiful sort of space in the ground floor now. And you do this slightly sort of Tinder style swipey screen thing. And I'm looking at this thinking, a screen is never going to tell me what my favorite fragrance is. That's just no, thank you. But I indulged in it. I kind of was swiping and ticking, and it came up with a few options. And one of them was Crielle Beluga, which is an Olivier Polge. It's this very soft, buttery suede fragrance. Even though there's the word cuir in it, it doesn't have any of that kind of raw sourness or aggression of leather. It's very it's soft, buttery, like suede gloves that almost kind of become your skin. It's beautiful. There's some vanilla in there. It's really warm. And that one was sort of allocated, like matched to me, and I just fell in love with it.
But that's what's in that bottle.
And that's what's in this bottle.
Okay.
Unfortunately, the pear sort of, what's it called? The poire sprayer bulb doesn't work. But I can open it easily and I can decant it into another bottle. But I keep it in there just because it makes me giggle. And I have a spare bottle of Criard Beluga that I've almost finished, so I'll have to top it up with this. But I found that fragrance whilst I was creating this feature. And it just was a time where I felt really welcomed, and I got my kind of work mojo back after having a baby that completely sort of destroyed any sense of identity. So I'm quite grateful for this bottle and for the award that I won with that feature.
No, that's brilliant. That's so many associations just in that one, and the bee bottles are just classic. I love them. Thank you so much. That's a great one.
Should I do a little up close? Look how gorgeous that is. This is like a deep purple.
Oh, that's really nice.
And you can have all sorts of different colours and the little ribbon and all sorts. It's really special.
Oh, fantastic. Thank you. And Amika's got a story. She says, one of my treasures, including a lovely big bottle of poison from 1985, is the sadly discontinued Dolce & Gabbana Sicily, given to me by a lost love in 2006, only time someone gave me perfume and a bittersweet memory.
That is loaded.
I'm guessing, Anamika, you don't rate the reissue of Sicily because, of course, it was reissued. But I want to say, was that a Nathalie Lawson or a Sophie Labbe? I can't remember. And get this, here's some news. I mean, this is completely off topic, but Rachel says Veronique Coty of the Prix François Coty is launching her brand this spring with Christopher Sheldrake as the perfumer. But we have questions now, Rachel. Does that mean he's leaving Chanel? Does that mean he's not going to be working with Lutins? You can't just drop that and, not answer all our... Go out and do some journalism, Rachel, and report back, please.
Yes, we need more.
500 words on my desk by tomorrow. Brilliant. Okay. It's my... So my fourth one... Oh, it's so... Okay, let me do this. Okay, so again, this is kind of about the perfume, but it's also about what type of... Well, I'll explain. So this is an Amouage.
Yeah.
But this is one that, unless I'm mistaken, maybe somebody who might be watching, if they happen to be watching from Oman, may be able to correct me if I'm wrong. You cannot get these particular Amouage attars outside of Oman anymore. There are some new attars that were released that are available around the world. They're available in Harrods. But this one, there was a duo of attars that were done, and this is tribute. And I remember when I found out that it was going to perhaps not be so easily available in the UK anymore, I went to the boutique in London that doesn't exist anymore, and I bought this one for myself. This is just incredible, Alice. If you've never smelt this, I had to include it in my book because it's one of my favorite Amouages of all time. It's like this thick... I don't want to waste it.
Well, an attar is almost like this elixir, like this sort of...
Kind of. I mean, it's not as super thick as, but it is runnier than like an EDT or an EDP. I don't know who made it, but chances are it was probably made by like an in-house attar mixer. And actually, let's pop that there. And it's... when we sort of talk about perfumes as being sort of like, bonfires and woods and things like that, you think you've smelt that kind of stuff, and then you smell tribute and you go, oh, okay.
Wow.
It's just everything in excess. It's like this excess of roses, excess of woods, excess of smoke, fire, charcoal, flames. The trouble, I don't know if you find this as well, but if I really, really love a perfume, I actually don't use it very much because I just don't want to. And it's a sin, actually. I should be using it. I should have used way more by now. Not that you need a lot of this one because you just dab a little bit on. But it is incredible. DJ says you can't get outside of, you can't get the outside of Oman, and they're in a new box, so maybe that means you can, but I should find out. You certainly, I'm pretty sure you can get them in Oman, but this one is just,
that is really precious. Oh, I need to smell that.
it's just extraordinary. It's just extraordinary. It's probably not IFRA compliant, or at least this version probably isn't IFRA compliant, which is why they had to kind of quickly shove it away. Okay, I'm going to be quiet because within the next 10 minutes we have to do 2, and I want you to have more time. So go on. What's your? Is this the one where we go rogue?
We're going rogue. So it's not one bottle; it's about 50 bottles.
What the heck is that?
I have this toolkit. This was given to me as a gift by Chanel when they celebrated the 100th year of Chanel No. 5. Do you remember in Selfridges they had this pop-up with this kind of factory of
yes, but I never saw it. I remember, but I never managed to see it.
So this toolkit, and it's a proper toolkit. It opens up. It's metal. It's really heavy. I'm going to try and do this without injuring myself.
Right, and I'm going to put you on full screen because we need to see this.
So it's a toolkit, and my husband arrived at the house with Chanel sort of products in it, and my husband said, "I'll have that for my shed, please." I said, "No, you bloody won't. That is staying with me forever." But inside is something that I've been working on but collecting for a little while for my kids. They actually have no idea what's in here because I keep it in the office, but it's under things, so they're never allowed to open things.
Well, are you sure you want to show this then? What do you think?
Yeah. I'm going to show it to them. So there are 2 levels. God, how do I do this? Hang on. There are 2 levels.
You're gonna don't lose the stuff. You may have it. Oh, I see. So you're putting minis in there.
So I'm putting minis. Hang on, let me do this. Here we go. Ready? Oh, it's heavy. So I'm collecting tiny little minis. I'll show a few of them. Not just minis, but little trinkets and things that sometimes we get sent in. God, it's heavy. It's worth it for you though. That sometimes we get sent in sort of press material to go with the product or press releases. And so I've been collecting tiny little bottles for my daughters who are 9 and 5.
This is the point where I sort of say, please, can I be an honorary ADP daughter as well?
They know that
just backtrack for a second. So what was originally in that box?
Okay, originally in this box, I think there was a bottle of No. 5.
Okay.
Do you remember the pouches of moisturizer, of like body lotion?
Right. Okay, so you got the sort of thing. Okay, so but now you're just using it. Oh wow, that's
now
amazing.
I use it as a sort of container, but the kids don't even sort of notice that it's there, which is what makes it even funny. They have no idea that they have this this.
So show us one particularly cute like mini that's in there or something.
There are so many. Okay, so not only are there lots of minis, but there are little things like things that came on press releases, like this little sort of rubber thing that came from a launch. What else is there? Oh, all sorts of things. Okay, so some really cute bottles. This Moschino toy too is great.
Was it an actual proper mini bear? Oh wow!
Proper mini bear. I've got ones that are discontinued, like this Terre de Lumière, which I love from L'Occitane.
From L'Occitane,
yes. There is this little Jean-Paul Gaultier Scandale with the 2 little legs that kick up. It's so much fun in here. Little tiny Erin bottles. Like, look how small that is. So sweet.
Yes.
And a little Tom Ford as well. Little Tom Ford Black Orchid. So many. What are the really fun ones?
That's really
little Dior.
Cool.
This is a little Dior Sakura. Tiny little Acqua Di Parma. And actually, very sweetly, Christelle, who is the marketing director at Acqua Di Parma, sent me some of these for the girls, saying, "Oh, I know your girls love tiny miniatures." So I've got a few of these teeny weeny Acqua Di Parmas. Fun ones that I know they'll love. Like, there are 2 of these actually. Marc Jacobs Daisy with the little flower on the top.
It's so hard to actually even get proper minis nowadays, isn't it? I mean, there was a time when all samples were proper minis, and then the vials started coming in.
Yes, exactly. Little tiny Tocker how sweet is this little top?
Oh yes, yes,
I
yes.
mean, they're almost like, you know, fairy garden treasures, and
That's
they're
so
both really
superb.
into
That's
that
really
sort of thing. There's a Comme des Garçons, which I haven't actually taken out of the packaging yet. I'm guessing that
oh
maybe
Floriental, yeah, yeah.
if it all goes horribly wrong, these will all be on eBay and you can shop for them.
So when are they going to?
From Chanel as well.
When are they going to be given this?
I don't know. I don't know. Maybe. I don't know. I'm almost sort of waiting until the perfect time. Oh, this one's gorgeous as well. The perfect time to go, girls. I need you just to play nicely for an hour. Here's the box of treasures. Little tiny Dior.
What's that one? Oh, a Miss Dior.
Dior, Miss Dior. I mean, not real Miss Dior, but you know what I mean.
No, current Miss Dior.
And what else is
Well,
there? Those are the really, really cute ones. Those tiny little, I've got quite a few of these tiny little Penhaligons.
oh yeah,
Which are adorable. And also, okay, this is so special. They're never going to be allowed to touch this actually because it's too precious. But with the 100th anniversary of number 5, I was very kindly sent the advent calendar. I did a video about it. I didn't have to. I wasn't paid for anything. It was just a nice press gift. And one of the doors, number 10, was this tiny little snow
globe Christmas tree decoration
with
type
a
thing.
little tiny bottle of number 5 in it, which is just mega, which I just treasure and I love, and the girls are never allowed to touch that one basically. So this is
that is amazing. So, I mean, I can see why you're saying you sort of went rogue, but actually you didn't go rogue. This is the definition of what we're talking about, isn't it? That's like, is that a Lutins?
A tiny,
wow,
little Lutins, because you know all the samples come in those long vials, which are tiny little Lutins and small little bits. There's a Penhaligons key ring that I've got. So little things that I've collected, press releases that I think are just really cool and special, and that one day they'll think are really funny.
Well, I can't. I'm not even going to try to top that. But was that the final one? What are you going to show? What are you going to show?
That was the final one. Just a little tiny eau de soie as well, which is adorable.
Which one?
Eau de soie.
Oh, Sicily. Gosh.
Yeah, isn't that sweet?
That's amazing. That's such a fantastic thing to collect. Oh, wow. That's brilliant. You've just got, there's so many. I mean, because I've just been looking, I haven't even bothered bringing the comments up, but that box is a hit. And I think everybody wants to be your daughter, and everybody's saying, oh my goodness, they've got such a special thing heading their way.
I know. Okay. I mean, it's packed. It's packed. So anyway, you crack on with your last one.
I'm not even going to attempt to top that. Now, the last one, as it happens, is a very, very, very special perfume. It happens to be a beautiful perfume. It's a 1969 Guerlain creation, which you will know. It's Chamade. But and the bottle in itself is special, and Chamade is just stunning. But this particular one has a lot of sentimental value because it was during a holiday to India. Now, India happens to be the favorite place for Madame Persolaise to go, traveling in. She's been there, I think, sort of like 13 or 14 times. 3 of those times have been with me. And it was one time when we were in Mumbai. We were walking along, I think it was along like the Colaba Causeway, the area is called, and there was an antique shop, and they had a few old bottles, almost all of them empty. They had an old Mitsuko, which was empty, for which they were just charging a bomb, just like crazy money. And I thought, no, I cannot justify spending that much. But they also had this. And as you can see, it's pretty much, full. The smell is fantastic, and they I think I seem to remember they wanted something like £30 for this. It was just silly. And this was still back in the day. Well, it still applies. You couldn't sort of very easily take this in hand luggage, and I thought, oh my goodness, is it going to survive the journey in the suitcase on the way back? And it was like, bubble wrap and shirts and socks and as much padding as possible. And it's fine, and the smell is intact. Probably one of the best extrait perfume bottles ever designed. The whole idea of the upside down heart and everything. And the smell is, it's amazing how it's just in perfect condition. It's this really, really incredible sort of spicy, hyacinthy, floral, but it's also very, very abstract, you know, because it comes from a time when perfumes were more abstract. So that's mine, and we're nearly at the hour mark. So I'm just very, very quickly going to start saying goodbyes and thank yous. Alice, thank you very, very, very much for taking us not just on one, but on so many different journeys, and, you know, at the same time telling us so much about your life and your career and your family. You met the terms of the brief perfectly. It was exactly what I was hoping it would be.
Good.
Thank you very, very, very much. And hopefully it won't be, you know, a year before we do this again. We really need to try and do it again. Huge thank you to all of you for watching. You can find Alice. I think the sort of easiest way to find her and then find out about everything else she does is on Instagram. Her hashtag, hang on, I prepared the hashtag early, not hashtag, her handle. I prepared it earlier. It's Alice Du Parcq. You do need to follow her. She has got, as most of you know this already, but she's got a fantastic series that she does on Instagram of live interviews called Desert Island Spritz, where she gets people to come on and talk about the perfumes that mean the most to them. That is an award-winning series. And yeah, thank you for everything that you do, but thank you particularly for today. And thanks very much to everybody for watching. I'll leave the final word to you. Anything particular you want to say before we go?
You've really inspired me to not only keep more precious bottles and not keep giving them away to people, but to get people to sign the boxes. I think that's a genius idea, and we meet a lot of these perfumers and they're really the precious ones. So
yes, absolutely. You know, I've got them to sign my book as well over the years, and yeah, that's really great. Anyway,
I love that. Thank you. I really enjoyed going back into those memories. Thank you.
Thank you very, very much for your time. Thanks very much, everybody, for watching. Oh, and yes, check out social media for details of the next episode coming this Friday, an interview with Eugene of Les Abstraits. But until then, take care. Be good. See you soon.